But we have to fast forward a little bit to one angle that took place at the show, which is, of course, Jay White lost the IWGP World Heavyweight title to Kazuchika Okada in the main event at Wrestle Kingdom 17. We all know that. The next day at New Year's Dash, he was continuing to play his despondent part of his character, and he did this when he lost to Kota Ibushi, where he did a job on New Year's Dash to Tomohiro Ishii and had to regroup and think about things for a while, and he played all that up. We thought we were getting something similar to that. And then he attacks Hikuleo with a chair. So his post-match press conference with Okada was interesting because he was just, like I mentioned, utterly despondent, depressed, sad. And then he worked himself up to blaming Hikuleo for it, basically saying that everything was going great until Hikuleo turned his back on Bullet Club. So he was going to go right to the source of the problem and attack Hikuleo. Okay, decent angle, fair enough. He attacks Hikuleo with a chair at New Year's Dash. Then he throws in something that I didn't expect at the time, which is, let's have a match where the loser has to leave Japan. Basically, loser leaves town match. Now, that took me aback. And I thought, well,
let's be clear about this. It is a leave Japan, not leave New Japan match.
That's critical, isn't it? Because I just thought with all this stuff going on in North America, maybe one of these two were going to go back and kind of lead the charge there. So I thought, this could really go either way in a way, because at first I thought they just brought Hikuleo back from New Japan Strong. Would they really just kick him back over there? Well, maybe, but it seemed odd. Quite a statement would be if Jay had to go over there for a length of time, and maybe they were going to give Jay a run on top with some sort of North American thing. And then, maybe they're going to be working with Ring of Honor and AEW, and my mind's going all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, this could actually go either way, which is kind of fun because, like you mentioned, it didn't say leave New Japan. It just said leave Japan. So all kinds of doors open. Then we hear that Hikuleo was being looked at by WWE. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Hikuleo, you can't teach height. And in WWE, he's the kind of guy that WWE might like. He does have charisma. He's not all the way there yet in the ring, but I think he's going to get there. And certainly having people not ready for national television doesn't stop WWE from throwing them on anyway. So I thought, okay, well, maybe so. Then what do we get today, Jeremy? We hear that Jay White might be leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling and that his contract might be up. And I'm dizzy. I mean, what it comes down to is that this match, which is coming up, one of them could be gone. Both of them could be gone. And we don't know either one for sure. So where's your head at as we try to wrap our brains around this idea of Jay White, Hikuleo, and perhaps a future with both one or neither of them?
The other person that you have to keep in mind in all this is Tama Tonga, who has also been involved in some discussions, rumors, inquiries, perhaps, that he might be wanting to go stateside as well. So you take into account you got Tama Tonga, Hikuleo, both kind of rumored. Where does that leave Tangaloa? He's injured. He's got a knee injury. He's been out since last summer. Does he have injury time? Is that going to play a factor into his brother's decisions to go forward with another promotion? Do they wait for him? Do they do another year and just kind of figure out the timetable so that they all can go together? Maybe it's a package deal. There's stuff to keep in mind with that. Now, when you get to Jay White, he is a completely different level of wrestler and quantity in pro wrestling and a conversation in and of itself. If he were to go to WWE, it would be a completely different, changing of the game. He would be main event level, the kind of guy that would, I wouldn't even have a blink an eye if he were to be Seth Rollins. Jay White, absolutely.
Well, no. You know that I think talent-wise, he's absolutely there. Do I think WWE would consider him a main event level wrestler? I'm not convinced.
I would look at him. They
made Jonah Mrs. Lackey.
I would look at him with getting an entrance larger than AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble in 2016. And with what's going on right now is the big X factor. So we're talking about WWE at a time where we're not sure what it's going to be looking like in the next week, month.
We don't even know who's in charge.
So it is pretty pretty wild to consider a business transaction with a company with that right now, when you don't even know where you would stand with the people you're negotiating with as a contract here now in 6 months. I say
or
wait.
if the people you're negotiating with are even going to have their jobs in a couple of months.
100%. Wait 6 months. If you're done within the next 3 months, see the lay of the land, figure it out. Like, see what AEW has to offer you. Jay White's done Impact Time. Hey, if you want to show up in Noah and do something there for like a couple of spots, that would probably do great business for the Wrestle Universe viewing app such as that. So I don't think WWE is the only game in town right now. I think he would do well there, but I'm not necessarily sure that should be the place he ends up. I think he would probably fit in better in AEW. Personally, I think he is of main event caliber, something that they're missing. A different kind of heel than MJF, if you were. Someone who's somewhat untouchable, but way more capable and competent in the ring to fans to deliver a 5-star match, if that is the thing that you're looking for, some measurable quantity. MJF is an entertaining property, and he'll probably be there, but Jay White is already there, kind of thing. So I think AEW probably have a better fit for him, but I do think that if WWE were to have the best possible outcome, he would do very well there as well. What do you think?
I would love to see Jay, and say that Jay will do well in WWE, but their capacity to miss on what should be sure things is staggering. There are people in WWE who should have been main event guys that they did virtually nothing with. And I don't see an enormous difference in the way Triple H books versus the way Vince booked quite yet. And it's still fairly early, and we may never get to find out, as it turns out, since Vince might be coming back with probably the redefining the idea back with a vengeance, because I think that's literally what it's going to be.
Sure.
So with that in mind, does Vince McMahon think Jay White is a main eventer, which might be the more important question, even though Paul Levesque is currently head of creative? And that I'm really not convinced. I'm not convinced Vince.
I would agree with you 100%.
And
reading the room, Vince McMahon is not the guy.
Jay White has a WWE connection, though, in this. Before he was a wrestler, he won a contest to go to WrestleMania in Los Angeles as a kid in New Zealand. So as a kid in New Zealand, he got to make a trip out to Los Angeles to go to WrestleMania in person. And that was one of the things that, I mean, I think he
went to WrestleMania 21?
Yeah, I think so. And he went.
I went to WrestleMania 21.
Yeah, I think it was 21. Yeah, and so he went out there and he won this trip, and that was one of the reasons, there's more than that he wanted to be a pro wrestler. So after seeing that, maybe there's something in him that just thinks, boy, I'd like to work a WrestleMania. I've done Wrestle Kingdom. I've main evented Wrestle Kingdom a couple of times. Maybe I'd want to go and do this. It's very possible that he would get lost in the shuffle in WWE. It's very possible he would get lost in the shuffle of AEW, because God knows Tony Khan has about 8,000 people, it seems like, under contract rolling around out there, and Jeff Jarrett's getting television time. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that sometimes, but it's you know what? This is all me being. This is all me being selfish. Jay White is my favorite heel in wrestling. MJF's fantastic. Roman Reigns and the Bloodline are on a wonderful run, and what I'm saying is there are a lot of good heels. Jay White is my favorite one, and selfishly, I want to see him play this out in New Japan. I want to see him have the run with Kenny Omega for Bullet Club supremacy, or just because you've got to kill your idols, right? You know, there's just so many layers of things that are still for Jay White to do in New Japan, and I want to see him, because I think he's one of the great big match wrestlers ever. If he goes to WWE, frankly, I worry for him. I worry it's going to end up like Jonah, where he's going to be somebody's lackey, or he's going to be doing something stupid, or he could be like Ricochet, who should have been a can't miss and is having a decent career, but not the one I thought Ricochet should have. And maybe it won't happen. Maybe he'll do great there. Maybe he'll be a main event guy. I would love that for him. Selfishly, I want to see my guy where he has been shining the most lately, and that's in New Japan. So, who knows? It's something that's still to come. And to be honest, Jeremy, we were talking about this a little bit off air. We don't actually know that he's out of contract, do we?
Yes, that was the next step of this. It's like 2021. It was reported that he had a 5-year contract. Every year since then, he has hinted, teased, trolled the internet in some way, shape, or form and got someone to bite that he might leave and go somewhere else. He does live stateside. All of these things all line up to make you think, yes, this could possibly happen. Mm-hmm. Do I think that his contract is up within the next year? No, I don't.
Okay.
I do think that Jay White wrestles at Wrestle Kingdom 18. What do you think?
Ooh. I would love it. I hope so. I hope this is all part of
it. Gut feeling.
And I think so because I agree with you on that. And I also think that Hikuleo is actually probably a better fit for WWE for what they do than maybe how they would portray Jay White. Again, this is not to do with the man's clearly as talented as anybody in that company. I worry about the creative, and that's the point. I think Hikuleo and maybe the Gorillas of Destiny make a lot of sense for WWE. I thought the Gorillas of Destiny would be a good WWE tag team a couple of years ago after they were. Frankly, before this babyface turn, which has been very good for Tama Tonga, I thought Gorillas of Destiny were stale. I thought they'd done everything they could do, really. And I thought maybe it's time for them to go to WWE and see and have a run with teams like, the New Day and the Usos and, Pretty Deadly against Gorillas of Destiny would be interesting. Like there are some great tag teams in WWE and that could use some fresh opponents and things, but so maybe that's where Hikuleo and the guys are going, perhaps. Don't know. All of this is supposition. But it seems like New Japan is pretty sure they're losing one or both of them because, again,
they're hedging. It definitely feels like they're hedging.
I believe New Japan when they make a stipulation.
Mm-hmm. I think that's happening. I'm going to go back to a couple more points on this real quick.
Please.
I do have confidence with WWE and their ability to position former members or former leaders of the Bullet Club in prominent. You have Finn Balor at the front of Judgment Day. I know Rhea Ripley is more positioned as the leader, but Finn Balor is 100% front and center in that show on that stable and protected immensely. You have AJ, who was with the OG Club, and they were building their own stable before he broke his ankle. Like you could argue Kenny Omega is the leader of the Elite, and he is protected immensely over in AEW. So whatever his options are, given his pedigree and resume within wrestling and New Japan, I'm confident he's going to be fine. The other thing I'm going to mention is Hikuleo. I watched him in this tag match on Strong, part of the Strong review that we did later on. I watched him. I thought, how would he be like in WWE? And all I saw all of a sudden was Diesel. I just saw a Hikuleo version of Diesel.
Oh no! Come on, be nice to the guy. He's a talented guy. Don't Kevin Nash him. No,
but he could carry him around and be that heavy, that kind of William Morrissey, big cast kind of like the guy that you just like. He will wreck you once you get in the ring with him. And I think that there's almost more power of the Tongans all coming in together and debuting that way and being strong as a unit rather than one by one piecemeal, because their impact would be much stronger as a group. So beginning of the year, we're going to find out in about 3 weeks who's leaving Japan. Maybe they both are. I'm not ready to make a prediction just yet because I do not want to eat humble pie. But I am definitely curious about where this is going and who's getting the nah, hey, goodbye.
The match was intriguing to begin with before all these rumors about WWE and AEW came out because, again, we believe New Japan when they make a stipulation. We're like, one of these guys is leaving. They just brought Hikuleo. Does that mean Jay? It's intriguing anyway. This just adds to the supposition. So